Well, hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome back to Spa Marketing Made Easy. We are still sitting inside of our profit mastery theme this month, and today's episode is for you. It's for the spa CEO who's in a hustle season right now, growing fast, adding headcount every single quarter just to keep up with her own success. It's for the spa CEO who feels stable, who looks at her P&L and thinks things are fine, but hasn't yet asked herself what the next 5 years are going to cost if she keeps running things exactly the same way that she's running them today. And it's for the spa CEO who knows if she doesn't tighten up her profit margin, she is at real risk of things going south very quickly. Now, when we talk about profit, most spa owners are thinking about it from one direction only. More revenue in the door, more treatments booked, more retail sold, more provider hours filled. And that's real and that matters. But profit isn't only what comes in. Profit is also what you don't have to spend, right? You can increase profit by cost reduction. It's what you don't have to hire for. It's what you get to keep because you built something that runs without a body attached to every single task inside of it. So today, I want to spend our time on the other side of profit mastery, the side almost nobody in our industry is talking about yet, what it means to invest in AI right now, this year, not someday, and what that investment is worth to you over the next 5 and 10 years. Now, most spa owners will tell me some version of the same thing when this topic comes up. AI is nice to have. It's for tech companies. It's for brands with a marketing department of 15 people. I'll get to it when things slow down a little. And I understand exactly why that's the instinct. You're in the treatment room. You're 3 steps behind your inbox, and go and learn new technology sounds like one more thing that's on a to-do list that's already way too long. But here is what waiting costs you. While you're telling yourself that you'll get to it later, the spa down the street from you already has a system quietly doing the admin work that used to eat up her Tuesday afternoons. It's not that she's smarter than you. She just started earlier. And the time she gets back this year compounds into next year and the year after that. The gap doesn't stay the same size. It grows every quarter that you don't close it. And that's just to be able to compete on a level playing field. So I want to say this as clearly as I can. Adopting AI in your business right now is not optional. It's not a 2027 problem that you'll deal with when you have more bandwidth. This is happening at a speed that we have never seen with any other technology in history. And I want to walk you through exactly why, because the numbers changed how I think about this, and I think they'll change the way that you think about it too. And I know for a lot of you, the resistance isn't necessarily about the technology. It's that you're just so deep in the treatment room. You're so buried in the day-to-day of running this thing that the idea of learning something new feels like it belongs to some version of you that has 10 times the amount of time that you currently have. And yes, it takes time to incorporate AI into your practice. And no, it is not a set it and forget it tool. It needs to be updated regularly, just like an employee. But unlike an employee, this tool can work 24/7 and will never call out sick. Now, don't take that as me saying you should get rid of your people. It's actually the opposite. What we are trying to do is empower your team to be more productive and take the administrative things off of their plate so that they can do things only humans can do. More on that later. All right, so let's get into this speed, like how quickly we are adopting and integrating with AI. When ChatGPT first launched, it hit 100 million users in 2 months. 2 months, guys. Instagram took 2.5 years to hit that same number. Netflix took over 3 years. There has never been a technology adopted this fast in recorded history. Not the internet, not the smartphone, not the personal computer. And this isn't just people playing with a chatbot on their phone anymore. McKinsey's most recent State of AI research found that 88% of organizations now report regular AI use in at least one part of their business. This is up 78% from the year before. It's not early adopters, that's the majority, and it's moved that fast in 12 months. Now, here's where this gets specific to your P&L. McKinsey also estimates that generative AI could add somewhere between $2.6 and $4.4 trillion a year to the global economy. Trillion with a T. That number is like almost too big to even comprehend. So let's break it down in our industry. Zenoti put out their 2026 beauty and wellness benchmark report for the med spa industry. And one finding really stood out for me. So med spas that adopted AI booking tools saw 5% sales growth. Med spas that didn't saw 1%. That's the largest technology-driven performance gap of any vertical in their entire data set, not some unrelated sector, our sector. And before you tell me that your clients don't want a robot answering their questions, that same research found 71% of med spa regulars are already comfortable with AI handling scheduling and communication. For clients between 45 and 60, your highest lifetime value client, that number climbs to 80%. Your clients are ahead of you on this. They've been talking to an AI assistant at their bank, their airline, their pharmacy for years now. They're not waiting on you to catch up. If anything, they expect it. Okay. Now, one more number, because I want this to land in your own operations, not just the industry at large. Bluevine's research on small businesses found that close to half of the businesses using AI right now are saving at least half a workday every single week. Half a workday every week. Not a vague productivity claim, real hours back in your calendar or on your team's calendar that used to go to something a computer can now do faster and more consistently than a person ever could. Now, this is not a short-term bump either. McKinsey's productivity research found that half of today's work activities could be automated somewhere between 2030 and 2060, with researchers now landing on the middle of that range around 2045, a full decade earlier than what the same researchers were projecting just a few years ago. That timeline keeps moving up. It's not moving out. So now I want to slow down, okay? Because when most spa owners here invest in AI, their brain goes to one place. Can you write me a caption for Instagram? And sure, that's a use case, right? We use that constantly. But that is the smallest, least valuable way to think about what is available to you right now. I want you to think about AI the way that you'd think about hiring a virtual assistant or an executive assistant or someone on your leadership team even, not a tool that you can poke at when you remember it exists. A team member you can build a relationship with, that you hand real ownership to, that takes weight off of your plate the same way a great hire would. That's what we mean when we talk about building an AI spa team inside of Growth Factor. Not one tool doing one task, a team of them, each one built around a specific job inside of your business. So let me give you an example of something that shifted my week, okay? Because I think it's just a little bit easier to understand. So Lucy, many of you know her. Lucy is our AI and systems lead. She was previously our marketing manager, but we've updated her role and title because what she does now goes just so far past marketing manager. So she still builds every system around our marketing. She also is building and running the AI employees that support our whole leadership team. Now, here's the one that I want you to picture, okay? This is an AI employee. So every week, Lucy and I have a marketing leadership meeting. We record it with a tool called Granola. And the moment that the meeting ends, the transcript drops automatically into our leadership workspace that we built inside of Claude. Nobody uploads anything. Nobody copies and pastes a single line. It lands there on its own. From there, a skill we built runs on that transcript without either of us touching it. It reads through everything we covered. It pulls out every action item. It assigns each one to me or to Lucy, depending on who owns it. It gives a due date, and it pushes the entire list into Monday.com, which is our project management board. In a matter of minutes, the open loops from the meeting are already sitting there as tasks, assigned, dated, and ready. Now, this is the part that changed how our meetings run. So every open item still sitting there in the following week gets pulled straight into our next agenda on its own. Nobody has to remember to add it. So instead of me sitting there wondering, wait, did we ever close the loop on that vendor conversation from 3 weeks ago? No, it's just there because the system held the thread so that neither one of us had to. Now, if you've ever left a leadership meeting with that nagging feeling, I know we talked about this before, did anything happen with it? This is the exact gap that closes, right? We're human. We forget things. We have off weeks. Now, Lucy and I aren't spending time after every single meeting turning notes into tasks anymore. That work doesn't exist for us in the way that it used to, and nothing falls through the cracks because the system remembers, not our memory of a conversation from 3 Tuesdays ago, okay? Now, here's another one, and this one is, mine specifically. Every single month, all of our content, our magazine, our podcast scripts, our blog post, our email, it gets built around one theme, right? We're in Profit Mastery right now. So it's not 4 themes, not a different idea for every channel, one theme, and everything spans off of it. That alone kills the blank space page problem before it starts. But then we batch by type instead of by day, right? We do the magazine first, and then we do every podcast script, and then we do every blog post, and then we do every email, because the emails usually reference the podcast or the blog, and they need to go last, right? Claude does the majority of the execution once I've set the direction on the month's theme. I review it, I approve it, I send it back if something's off, and the whole thing, the magazine, the podcast, the blog, the email, including the filming, takes 2, maybe 3 days a month, all right? For a full month of content across 4 channels. Now, I want you to sit with that a second because I know what building content used to feel like before this existed. It felt like a full-time job. It felt like I was drowning at all times with the amount of content that we were creating. Now, if part of you just heard all of that and thought, all right, great, Lucy, great, Daniela, but I'm not technical. I don't know how any of this works. I want you to let that go right now. Neither of those examples required either one of us to write a line of code. What they required was being able to describe a task clearly enough that someone or something could follow it step by step. That's it. That is the entire skill. That's one AI employee doing one job inside of one part of our business. And I want you to see how far this goes because most of the spa owners I've talked to have only seen the smallest slice of what it's actually capable of, okay? There are AI employees built to run new provider onboarding from day one. There's AI employees that sit in your inbox or your text and answer the routine questions before your front desk ever sees them. There are AI employees that walk your providers through your training standards step by step. And there are AI employees you can ask questions to about your own numbers, your retention rate, your average ticket, your provider utilization, the same way that you'd ask a bookkeeper to pull a report. This is not the Jetsons, okay? Every one of those exists right now, and most of them take less time to build than you think. Once you can describe the task clearly enough to write it down. Now, since we're talking about profit specifically, I want you to think about this in terms of hours, all right? Because that's the currency that matters here. So let's say that you're paying your spa manager $25 an hour and you meet on a weekly basis. That's 25 hours a year that she would spend on debriefing meetings if she spends 30 minutes after each meeting, okay? That's $625 in payroll that you would be saving just by having that AI employee that I described that transcribes the meeting and gets it put into place. 25 hours and $625 in payroll. Now, what about onboarding? Let's say conservatively, that you spend 3 full days training and onboarding a new provider. Realistically, it's often much more than that. And maybe you make 3 new hires in a year. So that's 24 hours of onboarding times 3. That's $1,800 of payroll saved, right? Conservative estimate. These are 2 very basic use cases with AI, and they've already shown that they can save thousands of dollars for you. Now think of how many more thousands you can save in payroll by making your entire company more efficient, more productive. And that's not even adding in how you can impact your client experience, which increases sales, retention, and referrals by freeing up the time and space on your humans team's time so that they can have those interactions with your clients and patients. So the question isn't whether AI is a fit for your business. It's which hours in your week you want your team to be spending on administrative work a system could hold instead of which hours you want them spending on the work only a human can do. So let's talk about jobs, right? If AI is doing all this, does that mean people lose their jobs? No, it does not. I think that's the wrong question. And I want to tell you why. Because we are not building AI spa teams so that we can run our businesses with fewer humans. We are a service-based industry. We are building them so that the humans we already have can stop spending their week on the administrative work that was never the reason they got into this industry in the first place. Nobody became an esthetician because she dreamed of typing up meeting notes into a project board. Nobody became a spa manager because reconciling a schedule by hand felt like the highest use of her talent. What I believe is possible here is that our teams become 10 times more productive, 100 times more productive, maybe more, once the administrative weight comes off. And when that happens, the humans on your team get their time back for the one thing that AI can't do, which is sit across from a client and make her feel seen and heard and cared for in a way that earns her loyalty. That's the whole game in this industry. Clinical excellence gets someone in the door. Being remembered, being known, being cared for in a way that she can feel, that's what brings her back for the next 15 years. AI can't do that part. It was never going to be able to do that part. What it can do is clear enough space in your team's week that the human part gets the attention that it deserves instead of being squeezed in around admin work at the end of a very long day. If you have a team member who's nervous about this conversation, just be open. Have that as a direct conversation with her and tell her exactly what I just told you. This is not about her being replaced. It's about her highest level of scope finally having room to breathe. And here's the biggest reason that all of this matters to me past the P&L. We talk a lot on the show about building a business around the life you want to live, not the other way around. Every hour an AI employee holds for you is an hour you get to decide where it goes. Back into the treatment room if that's where you want it, back into your kids, back to the farm, back to your own version of a Tuesday afternoon that isn't eaten by admin work. That is what Profit Mastery is about, underneath the P&L. Not just what your business keeps, what you get to keep too. So this week, I want you to do one thing. Pick one task. A meeting you always have to debrief afterward, a question your front desk answers 10 times a day, a report you build by hand every single month. Write down exactly what tasks look like from start to finish, the same way I just walk you through what happens inside of our leadership meeting. All right, this is not for your whole business. This is for one task, 1 week, okay? Because once you can see a task clearly enough to write it down step by step, you're already halfway to building an AI employee for it. Action creates clarity, and clarity is what turns "I should probably look into AI at some point" into a real line on your P&L, saving you real money for years. Now, if you build this out this week, I want to hear about it. Send me a DM on Instagram or reply to our email list. Tell me which task you picked. Let me know. I read all of the responses and I'm so grateful. All right, that's it for this episode of Spa Marketing Made Easy. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will catch you in the next episode.